A very good evening to you all. Thank you for watching UBC Television this 23rd day of July 2022. With me, Wadulo, Mark Arnold, Mugalu Muhammad on sign language. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. In our headlines tonight, President Museveni returns from the EAC summit in Arusha. Vice President Major Lupo in Soroti to drum up support for NRM's Habatariko. UBC West hosts Echitimbure tonight following a day-long celebratory mood. And UOC Culture Education Commission climaxes Pioneer Full Circle's project. Very honored to have you watching the news tonight. It's now time for the news in detail. President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is back home from attending the high-level retreat of the Summit on East African Community Common Market that took place in Arusha, Tanzania. His Excellency the President was received on arrival at Entebbe International Airport this morning by the Head of Public Service and Secretary to the Cabinet, Ms. Lucy Nachobe Mbonye. Others at the airport included Major General Leopold E. Chanda, Joint Chief of Staff of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, Major General Abel Kandiho, Joint Chief of Staff, Uganda Police Force, and Assistant Commissioner General of Prisons, Samuel Akena. Welcome back, Mr. President. In other news, the construction of a multi-million church building for Natete Archdeaconry Namirembe Diocese has been launched. President Museveni, who was represented by the Prime Minister Robina Nabanja, donated 30 million shillings towards its construction.
The Prime Minister was welcomed on arrival by the Resident District Commissioner Wakiso District, Justin Mbabazi, local leaders and church officials. Construction of the new church St. Paul Mbadwe Church of Uganda is estimated to cost 1.6 billion shillings.
St. Paul Church of Uganda, Bandwe, groundbreaking for the new church complex by the Right Honorable Prime Minister Nabanja Rubina, on behalf of the President of the Republic of Uganda, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, Kibuhabulwa. Mwezi 23 ogw'omusanvu 2022. Nine suubite namwe mwenna mugenda teekako ettaffaali. Ngenda batikula ettaffaali. Nine suubite ekkanisa eno ejja kuggwa mu kiseera kye tusuubira. N'ettoffaali ly'engenda obatikula ne ly'enese bwe liba tirimaze tujja kukomawo.
President Museveni donated 30 million shillings towards its construction.
Letesereza President yapadde milioni 3. Ziteekewa. Owaffe tasuubiza ate takagamba mugende mu munoonyi. Ye takagamba mugende mu munoonyi asindika ba Air Force watu kana bani. Nazindika. Kakati nange nga Prime Minister w'eggwanga era sijja baviirako awo ezange miliyoni 10 zizo.
In a speech read for him by the Prime Minister, Museveni acknowledged the great contribution the church has made towards the economic and social transformation of the country.
The church in Uganda is credited for the good contribution in the provision of socio-economic infrastructure and other services such as health education, works of charity, poverty alleviation and income generating projects, relief services, peace building initiatives, efforts, etc.
He said the NRM government values the prevailing collaboration with the church and pledged continued support towards all church-initiated projects. The president also urged the youth to avoid practices that ruin their future, such as drugs.
I call upon the church to continue sowing the seeds of love, unity, discipline, sacrifice, hard work, integrity, patriotism, etc. among the people. This is the backbone of the gospel of Jesus Christ.
The Prime Minister later conducted a general fundraising drive where she auctioned the president portrait at 1 million shillings. A cross-section of people present at the function made generous contributions to support the church construction project. Earlier, a church service was conducted by Reverend Elijah Chove. He called on people of goodwill to come forward and support the church project.
Buli lw'obanga okola omulimu gwa Katonda togukolera bwereere, naye oyo gw'okolera ye nannyini byonna era asasula. Omuwandiisi wa Bayibuli mu kitabo eky'ebyomumirembe ekyokubiri essula ya 15 olunyiriri lwa 7 awandiika n'akakasa ebigambo ebyo n'agamba nti naye mubenga n'amaanyi so n'emikono gyammwe tegiddiriranga kubanga omulimu gwammwe guliweebwa empeera.
During the same occasion, a number of issues affecting service delivery in Chengra Town Council were brought to the attention of the Prime Minister. She assured the residents that the development programs crafted by government will address most of those concerns. Joseph Okow, UBC.
In other news, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has welcomed the marriage conference being organized by the Bible Society of Uganda, saying that it comes at the right time when the marriage setting in the country has disintegrated and has become a threat to the nation. She was meeting a team from the Bible Society of Uganda together with Reverend Stephen Kroger from the UK, who is the visiting guest speaker at the marriage conference scheduled for Friday 22nd and Saturday the 23rd of July 2022. The team that called on the First Lady at State House Nakasero on Wednesday was led by Justice Mike Chibita, who is the president of the Bible Society of Uganda. Others included Simon Peter Mukama, the General Secretary, Bible Society of Uganda, and Paul Bossum from the UK. Mrs. Janet Museveni observed that Uganda has of recent had challenges of so many young people getting pregnant during the COVID-19 lockdowns period and being married off by their parents, which she said led to an outcry for schools to be reopened to curb the disturbing cases. Mrs. Museveni also said that it is sad to hear about many young couples divorcing these days. Justice Mike Chibita pointed out that the issues and challenges in marriages cut across all Christian denominations, and scripture can be used to reach out to the families and call upon men specifically to step up their roles and duties. He said that 10 years ago, divorce was never a big issue in Uganda, but now, when you look at the statistics from the family division in the judiciary, the number of cases to deal with, including divorce and separation, is mind-boggling, and that is why something needs to be done to address the matter before the law comes in. Reverend Stephen Kroger from the UK said he is thrilled to have the opportunity to speak to senior leaders in Uganda. He said his talk during the two-day marriage conference will rotate around four main things. Paul Boson, who has been in Uganda for about 10 months now to organize the marriage conference, said that the marriage conference is a start of a movement to promote Christian marriages rather across the country. Simon Mukama said that in the future, they are thinking of holding regional and biannual marriage conferences so as to reach as many Christian couples as possible. He thanked Mrs. Museveni, who is a life member of the Bible Society, for loving and always supporting the activities of the organization. He cited opening of the Bible House, construction of the new Bible Society building, and printing of a Karen Mujong Bible, among others.
Okay, I would like it.
Furthermore, the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, has appreciated the Global Partnership for Education, with the acronym GPE, for supporting the transformation of education in Uganda. She said that the Global Partnership for Education has been dependable and thus truly walked the walk with countries like Uganda, which are developing and still need that kind of support, especially in times like now. The First Lady was meeting the GPE mission team led by Fazal Rabani, and who is the Regional Manager, East and Southern Africa GPE Secretariat, who paid a courtesy call on her at State House, Nakasero.
Education is a transformative power of nations to change the quality of life of nations. So as we change the quality of our education, we are changing the quality of nations. So to multiply, the schools have grown smaller because of the numbers of our students. So we thought that this time round, GPE2 would really help us to expand those schools and rehabilitate them and really restore them to their former glory, if you like, which would be a very big step in the transformation of education in the country. And so primary education, we are hoping that we'll continue to do with our national funding, national budget funding. And as I'm sure you have learned, pre-primary is done by private sector, but government does the training of teachers and caregivers for pre-primary, and government also inspects the private sector pre-primary schools, and we have not yet made the decision for government to take on pre-primary because, as you must understand by now, we have a universal education in the country, both primary and secondary. And universal education brings bigger populations of learners into school, which is what we want really to cover all school-going age to be in school. And our struggle now is to keep them in school until they complete all levels of education.
And I'm glad that the core compact team identified two areas, policy areas for system transformation. One is the pre-primary and the other one is primary. And within that they have identified access plus quality, improving access and quality as system transformation areas. So that narrowed down where and how GP money will be invested. And they have also identified some obstacles that needed to be removed in order to make that acceleration happen. And we're happy with the kind of analysis, the analytical work the thought that went into developing those priorities and identifying the obstacles. I think that part is satisfactorily done. Now what will need to be done is to go deeper and identify the activities that will be funded from GP fund, and some of the activities probably will also be funded from other development partners who are interested to support the compact.
Stakeholders in the Human Capital Development Program under the National Development Plan 3 have held a high-level consultative mid-term review meeting to assess their performance in the implementation plan over the past 2 financial years. The meeting, chaired by the Minister of State for Planning, Honorable Amos Lugolobi, on Thursday, was hosted by the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, at State House, Nakasero.
Stakeholders in the Human Capital Development Program under the National Development Plan, NDP3, have held a high-level consultative mid-term review meeting to assess their performance in the implementation of the plan over the past 2 financial years. The meeting, chaired by the Minister of State for Planning, Honorable Amos Lugolobi, was hosted by the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Mrs. Janet Museveni, at State House, Nakasero.
This meeting because it gives us an opportunity to highlight our challenges as a sector, and I'm sure all the other sectors, in order to serve our country.
The stakeholders from the 4 sectors on which human capital development is hinged took stock of the progress made under the respective sub-programs and discussed the challenges so far made during the implementation of the NDP3, key emerging issues and proposed priority interventions to be implemented so as to achieve tangible results by the end of the plan implementation in 2024/2025 financial year. In her opening remarks, Mrs. Janet Museveni, who is also the political leader of the Human Capital Development Program, said that the Ministry of Education and Sports has continued to play the coordinating role of the program and ensured that key aspects of the planning and budgeting processes for the program continue despite delays in securing a committed budget for establishing the program secretariat and support to the program activities.
Despite the funding constraints, the Ministry of Education and Sports has continued to play a coordination role, ensuring that key aspects of the planning and budgeting processes for the program continue.
The Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Rotha Change, highlighted the key priorities of her ministry.
Our key priorities moving forward have been countrywide vaccination against COVID-19, targeting full vaccination for the population, and also continuing to address the huge burden of communicable and non-communicable diseases from where we have been and sustaining the progress that we have made.
Gender, Labour and Social Development Minister Betty Amongi said that effective implementation of flagships and livelihood programs for special interest groups have been affected by inadequate funding. Relatedly, she said that the sector has been able to collect over 12 billion shillings from externalization of labor, but despite this, cases of labor exploitation and mistreatment are on the rise.
The ministry has also strengthened regulation on external employment, and we have rolled out an online system called External Employment Management Information System to facilitate those seeking employment abroad to go through a smooth online system for migrant workers.
State Minister for Planning, Amos Lugolobi, acknowledged that implementation of the NDP3 has been constrained by the effects of the COVID-19 lockdowns and the other disasters like locusts, floods, and the recent war in Ukraine.
New HIV infections per 1,000 susceptible population. The target was 3.5. We were able to achieve beyond the target 1.3 people still get infected. So that is a...
In the presentation on Education and Skills Sub-Program, Permanent Secretary Katie Lamaro highlighted inadequate funding for program activities, lack of data for key outcome indicators, weak coordination due to the absence of program secretariat, delays in project implementation, especially externally funded ones, and the COVID-19 pandemic that disrupted teaching and learning as key challenges in implementing the education and skills programs.
The Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Chris Baryomonsi, has officially launched UBC West at a ceremony witnessed by UBC senior staff and board members in Mbarara City. The minister was flanked by the State Minister for ICT and National Guidance, Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao, the Managing Director, Winston Agaba, and Board Chairperson, James Tumusime, among other dignitaries. The guests were welcomed to the studios by the manager UBC West Agre Barutsia and manager UBC Radio's Doreen Ndezi.
All roads were leading to Mbarara City this Saturday as several people flocked activities of Radio West for its launch and the Chitumbure concert. The event kicked off with a march and a bicycle competition in the morning through Mbarara City before going back to the radio for its launch and talk show. Ministers Dr. Chris Baryomonsi and Joyce Nabosa Sebugwao arrived at UBC Radio West premises in Mbarara City towards 11 a.m. Led by the Managing Director UBC Winston Agaba and Board Chairperson, the ministers toured the facility before being ushered to a live radio program.
Coverage of the news. We link up with the national news from Kampala, and we also have locally produced news here. We are excited because ICT and Madam Honorable Joyce Sebugwao, NITA-U connected the fiber optic backbone. We are using the fiber optic backbone here.
Mureke tueleze Minister wetu wenshonga z'ebyamakuru empulizana hamwe na teknolojia owekitinisa Dr. Chris Baryomonsi.
Twashemererwa okuje mu rubuga hano ya Mbarara studio etwiri Kampala konka tukagira ngo katugirete Mbarara.
Congratulations the people of Mbarara West okubanti mutuse ku this achievement.
Addressing the region, ministers and team challenged the region to embrace the station.
Mwenyo nasemerwa kureba ngo UBC West empika hona eigwire kandi yaza kushika abantu bona abo mu kitwekeki bajyotaburro bagihurira ku rw'umu kasese kutyo mwabazyo kusyanye kiro
mumanye biki ebigenda maso na dala programs enunje ennyo government ze yateekawo mubadde muzimisinga mubadde temuzitegeera bulungi nkakasa nti okuva leero mujja kubanga muziwulira bulungi.
Nsangaira ino banange ab'Embalala okubabona kubanga Mbalala eno yeifwe
momyo wangicha pesa mwana nike wa ghetto studio me.
Next was the launch of the station.
That is it, UBC West.
The team later proceeded to be part of the gathering, which mainly comprised of UBC family and well-wishers.
For the last 70 years, UBC was in Kampala. So anybody who wanted to listen to UBC would tune in for about 20-30 minutes, and then the station would change to another language. So people could not access it, could not fraternize with it, could not enjoy it as much as we expected it to be. In fact, that was one of the reasons I started Radio West here.
The President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the several times we have met him with you and the board, has always insisted to get closer to the people. And we are very excited that this day has come as we launch UBC West here in Mbarara.
The population has been complaining a lot that the government is doing nothing because the communication has been very poor. After this move, I'm sure each and everybody will be able to follow what the government is doing for them.
Baryomonsi, who was excited about the achievement, hailed Radio Uganda, which has transitioned to now UBC, for moving along the path of professionalism.
I want to say that UBC has remained the best. in terms of professionalism, in terms of ethics, in terms of giving the government message. Many people, when they want the honest information from government, they tune it to UBC.
It is under this line that the government sends a strong warning to those operating contrary to the industry's principles, as they will face it rough.
There are some radios, for instance, some time back, which were refusing to broadcast the national anthem. Can you imagine? When it is the government which has licensed you, they say for us we cannot broadcast the national anthem. There are media houses that abuse the opportunity that they have. They spread hatred.
He further notes that some laws are in the offing, especially to deal with social media misuse and citizen journalism.
So we are going to be a little bit strict in terms of regulation and providing oversight over our media houses.
To strengthen the government communication chain, a weekly ministers and permanent secretaries talk show will soon hit the air and sound waves of UBC.
We are soon going to launch a program on UBC television where ministers and permanent secretaries will be hosted once a week to explain what the government is doing through the ministries.
The long day events were opened up by a bicycle competition, which was flagged off by the Deputy MD UBC, Maurice Mugisha. Sempi Jaziz was the day's winner as he walked away with a brand new motorcycle and other decorations.
Nimusanyufu nnyo kubanga mpangudde empaka zino kuba mbadde nzeetegekera.
At University Inn, revelers and supporters of UBC Radio West gathered in their hundreds to cheer up the born baby at a mega annual feast known as Chitimbure, where they are expected to party till morning. Robert Onyango, UBC News.
Congratulations, UBC West. We are honored to add you onto our list of outlets. Now, the Vice President, Major Jessica Alupo, has encouraged Soroti city residents to embrace unity for development purposes. Alupo warned against acts of tribalism that could delay progress and compromise development. She echoed this while canvassing for support for Soroti East by-election NRM candidate Herbert Ariko.
This is how Vice President Jessica Alupo was received at a Chet Gwen sale in Otatai Ward in the Soroti East Division of Soroti City. She was here to drum up support for NRM's Herbert Ariko in the upcoming parliamentary by-elections.
NRM, oye! Museveni, oye! Ariko, oye!
Unity for development was top among her messages.
What is enough for? Wise men are here in Ajibwe. Wise men are here, wise women.
Alupo was in company of other ministers, members of parliament, and NRM diehards. They were all here to seek people's support for Herbert Ariko.
Vote for a leader who is going to take care of the services which will come to you. And that is who? And that is who?
Mothers who are here, Arika is crying. As in Busoga, when the baby is crying, you say, bus, bus, bus. Now Ariko, the symbol is bus. Arika is crying for parliament. Let us vote Ariko, as we are saying, bus, bus, bus.
I was purposely coming here to ask for Ariko's vote, but signs are clear that all of you have accepted and agreed to vote for Ariko Herbert. Amen? Amen?
The Vice President's appearance comes just a few days that the NRM National Chairperson, President Yoweri Museveni, is scheduled to join the campaigns.
The president is coming on Monday, and I would like to appeal to all the people, particularly the opposition,
not to undermine the president's visit, because sometimes they want to antagonize the coming of the president. I hope they are not going to do that this time around. We don't want a scenario like it happened in Arua. We don't want a scenario like it happened in Kayunga.
As the president comes, Rosemary Seninde is optimistic of a victory.
Supporting somebody who would just oppose doesn't add value. So I think it is one thing we have managed to ensure that the people appreciate.
Ariko is facing FDC's Moses Atan and UPC's Pascal Amuriat in the July 28th by-elections. Henry Okrut, UBC.
Well, let's now take a short commercial break and be back with more UBC News Tonight. Don't move an inch.
Vimba! Ni MTN Kabode Super as you pay mpola for this smartphone. Make calls, update your WhatsApp status, watch YouTube, and Google anything under the sun with 2 GB worth of data every month for 7 months. Simply make a small deposit of 99k and pay the balance mpola. You can pay in daily, weekly, or even monthly installments while you enjoy your new phone. So what are you doing today? Visit any MTN shop near you and get the MTN Kabode Super easy.
A World Cup in the desert? The first one in the Middle East. The first to be held at the end of the year? That's crazy. Get ready for spectacular moves. High-flying saves. Unbelievable goals. Out of this world celebrations. All 64 matches live. That's over 5,000 action-packed minutes of the FIFA 2022 World Cup Qatar. Now that's crazy. Catch all the action only on SuperSport, your world of champions. On Gold TV. Love it.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using 2 Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Oil and Gas Moment, brought to you by Petroleum Authority of Uganda, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey. In order to be contracted to supply goods and services for oil activities in Uganda, you must register on the National Suppliers Database. Between 2017 and 2021, close to 400 Ugandan entities were awarded various contracts to supply goods and services to the sector.
Tech Club Limited is a geosciences company that has been offering geotechnical and geophysical investigation services to the East African market since its inception in 2002. Our experience working with Ama Energy has been a pleasurable one. The seismic surveys have always been on our radar, and when this opportunity came up, we put together a winning bid and became the first Ugandan company to provide seismic services under an oil and gas contract in Uganda.
Registration on the National Suppliers Database is free. Visit www.pau.go.ug, creating lasting value in Uganda's oil journey.
Children are a special gift, one we must protect and nurture with care. Ensuring your child has a birth certificate opens doors for them that would otherwise be hard to access, such as immunization, school admission, or simply proving their age and belonging. Let us do our duty as parents and guardians by registering our children and getting them birth certificates. For more information, visit the NERA office closest to you or call the toll-free number 0800-211-700. This message is brought to you by NERA.
Oh, Susan, I want to propose to Rose. Yes, and this time I am serious.
Have you guys had sex?
Duh, of course.
And have you had sex without using condoms?
Hey, Nga, you're curious.
I'm more concerned. Are you having sex with other people?
Hey, hello, is this an interview or what?
No, just things you should think about. Do you know Rose's HIV status?
Okay, this is serious. Should I be worried?
It is actually serious. Do you know your HIV status?
I think I am safe. Many times we get into situations that put us at risk of HIV. However, the first step to ending HIV is getting tested and knowing your results.
It's Time Up HIV. Call 0800-211-046 or text 8080 toll-free for more information about how to prevent HIV.
This message is brought to you by Ministry of Health with support from USAID.
Meet Professor Petero. He knows something every hustler in UG is gonna love.
Oh, see. You see, I was just trying to get the documents to register for Airtel Money.
You don't need the documents. You just say for register.
What's going on here?
He sells things from the shop, and behind my back, he gets the money and gives it to his girlfriends.
But just get Airtel Money Pay so that all money comes direct to your business wallet and only you, the owner, have access to it. Just dial *185 *10 # and now you are on. No waiting. Huh? This insanity is sweet. Give them also.
I only take Airtel Money Pay. It's easy and secure.
Yes, become a safer and more efficient cash-free business today. Easy. Not mixing your business money with your Kameza money. Now, that's efficient. Airtel Money. Instant, secure, borderless.
Welcome back from that short break. You're still watching the UBC News Tonight. We delve into more news stories. Now, Kabong District residents have commended government for the quick response to their famine situation. Kabong received 100 tons of posho and 50 tons of beans to serve over 20,000 vulnerable families across the district. The food was received by the LC5 chairperson, Mary Gino, woman member of parliament, Christine Nakwang, among others, at the district headquarters.
Announce to you the food that was sent from the office of the Prime Minister to support the most affected persons in the Kabong district.
Kabong district residents have received food from government. Loreria sub-county is one of the areas in Kabong where residents say they had lost hope due to insecurity that would not allow them into the gardens.
Destroying gardens in Loreria sub-county, and you will find that the third one is the hamworm spoil our crops since the time of planting up to now. We have a big...
As they chase most of the people away, the current insecurity. It's one of the hit sub-counties in the district.
Residents and their leaders thanked government for the food relief.
For this quick response, however small the food is, but it will help. It will help the most vulnerable people in the district. Throughout the district, we have received 100 tons of posho and 50 tons of beans. This one will go to those who are about to die, especially the elderly, people living with disabilities.
The ratio that is given to the people is small. I know this is better than nothing. We need to increase on the ratio.
Kabong has over 20,000 vulnerable families. Kabong district received 100 tons of posho and 50 tons of beans.
Furthermore, government is conducting fresh registration of veterans in all regions to eliminate the masqueraders. This was disclosed by the State Minister for Luwero Renzori Triangle, Alice Kaboyo, during a meeting with the civilian veterans from the districts of Masindi and Chiriandongo at a function held in Masindi District Headquarters.
Veterans from Masindi and Chiriandongo districts have held a meeting with the State Minister for Luero, Rwenzori Triangle, Alice Kaboyo, and appealed fulfillment of pledges made to them by government some time back.
If you don't tap these young boys, the movement is being buried by you.
Tukusaba sente mutuhereze monthly income kandi muzitekege account yaitu gube musara in millions.
Akasimo kukakuruga office ya minister evapora kuzikurwa mu office ya minister zo ministry ya finance ekwate sente as her bank.
The veterans, particularly from Chiriandongo, also want jobs for their children whom they say graduated but are still jobless.
They are talking here, bana baitu. Masindi, they are chanced in recent recruitment. They have 2 other diseases from here. Chiriandongo, there's nothing. Why can't you also be independent? We are requesting for that thing, Madam Honorable.
Abahigi, baragana wataka isize.
Masindi Veterans Chairperson reported to the minister that there are persons masquerading as veterans.
Where they write down the likely beneficiaries of Kasimu, we humbly seek your clarification on this matter.
However, the Minister for Luero Triangle assured them that government is soon registering all veterans to eliminate masqueraders.
Ba veterans bona abo kwa hatu iburu muntu wena na claiming ngo no veteran akarwana konka nimwe murukumanya abantu abamwarwande nabo nimwe mwenka abari kubamanya kandi nimwe mari kubasa kutwandikira abo bonka baba abachikozereho batari aba bari kwisha kubeha.
The Masindi Resident District Commissioner Nuhu Njuki Mbabali advised veterans to remain calm as government addresses the challenges.
People have fought the war. The minister has encouraged them to keep the peace which they have fought for. And the reason why we are here also to encourage them, to tell them what they are supposed to do, not to tell their younger blood, those one who are under 35 years, so that they can keep peace. Not to go around and look for money. Money is not a problem, but peace is the problem. If you get peace, we can get everything.
Cosmas Biaruhanga, the Masindi District Chairperson, challenged veterans to convince youth turn and support the NRM party for more opportunities.
Much as we took power, but the struggle has not ended. We need to keep the fight to make sure that this government run by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, NRM government stays in power, because if we give up, then other people will come and destroy all what we fought for.
The minister is currently touring areas. The minister is currently touring various regions in a bid. The minister is currently touring areas where veterans are in a bid to address their challenges.
8%.
The Parliamentary Committee on HIV/AIDS has rejected a report by the Hoima district officials and Hoima City about the impacts of COVID-19 on HIV/AIDS status in the district. This was after the officials led by the District Health Information Focal Person, Patricia Asimwe, presented a backdated report with non-tallying figures.
On HIV/AIDS led by Committee Chair Sarah Kayagi was in the district of Hoima on a fact-finding mission in regard to the effects of the scourge on HIV/AIDS.
To give us proper, updated information on the things or the areas, the objectives we asked for. And you send it to our clerk. He gave you the email so that in the period of 1 week, we have received this information.
The Vice Chairperson of the committee, Stephen Kisa, and Michael Kakembo, the MP for Entebbe Municipality, said that several district and city officials of Hoima had snubbed the committee and delegated junior officials to interface with the parliamentarians. Stephen Kisa requested the chairperson not to take the report because it is out of topic and requested for another.
That presentation was totally off topic and it should not be captured by this committee. It should not be captured. And therefore, as a vice chair of this committee, I'm demanding that this committee should be given an up-to-date statistical data in as far as the impact of COVID on HIV is concerned.
Patricia Simwe, who presented the report on behalf of Hoima District local person, apologized before the committee and other officials.
I want to apologize on the floor because I thought for me it would make sense if my communication is like a story from where we started and where we ended. That's why I brought the strategies, the challenges, the strategies before the current status and the impact.
Emi Katera, the RDC for Hoima, said that there was need for the district officials to be vigilant before presenting their reports.
I think, and I want to promise, that we are in the phase of polishing some of these contradictions here.
Kichwamba Technical College ADF attack victims have petitioned the President, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, seeking compensation from the government of Uganda over the torture that they went through during the attack by the Allied Democratic Forces at the college. This was during the interfaith prayers to remember those who were killed that was organized by the Rwenzori Forum for Peace and Justice held at the college premises.
June 8th this year marked 24 years since the Allied Democratic Forces attacked Kichwamba Technical College in Kabarole district, burning 80 students to death and abducting more than 100. This permanently constructed mass grave at the Technical College is the only symbol for the remains of 27 students who died on the 8th of June 1998 ADF attack. Interfaith prayers for survivors and families of the victims were led by the Bishop of Gulu Diocese, Bishop John Baptist Odama, who echoed a message of peace building.
We are looking for a solution, how to stop human beings destroying human beings. I put you all in this homework.
The former student abductees of the ADF and the families of the victims in a petition through the Minister of Local Government presented by Buloremo James commended government for rehabilitation of the college with their call towards compensation.
Your Excellency, we acknowledge and appreciate, first of all, the rehabilitation of the college in the aftermath of the ADF attack and the subsequent replacement of destroyed property and improvement on the college's infrastructure by government.
The survivors and affected families in Rwenzori region also want to meet President Museveni to discuss their needs and challenges after the attack for a way forward.
I now have 4 degrees, but I have never got employment where I belong.
Victoria Busingye-Rusoke, the Minister for Local Government and Woman Member of Parliament for Kabarole District, told the survivors that the attack was out of unconsciousness on security, but now government is more alert on security issues to avoid such occurrences.
The people who burnt this place were strangers. They were not living here every day, they were not sleeping here, so the surrounding area was not cautious. But these days we are sharp. Even when you see a black polythene bag, you must be cautious.
The commander of Operation Shuja, Major General Kayanja Mhanga, however, assured the members of the public of peace and security, saying that the army has defeated the enemy.
We were being attacked day and night, people being killed, people had run out of their bed. Now people have gone back up to Kikingi. Mama, no, they are constructing that road now with hands, their own hands, going to Kikingi.
He, however, lashed out at the members of the opposition who underrate the UPDF work in DRC, saying that the army has driven the enemy out of Uganda and its neighborhood and taken over all their camps. At the time of the attack, the rebels locked students in their dormitories and set them on fire and abducted more than 100 students. Bridget compiled this report.
Naboa village, located in Budaka district, has received a new secondary school with 4 buildings starting from Senior 1 to Senior 2, courtesy of 15 Korean missionaries under Union Vision. Over 18 schools have been constructed across Uganda by Union Vision with an aim of providing conducive education to the less privileged.
The Korean Humanitarian Vision Union has established a multi-billion secondary school in Budaka district. Under the Union Vision tag, the school now becomes one of the 18 schools offering education to hundreds of less privileged Ugandans.
Many students who are not studying, and because of that, Union Vision mission came with a strategy of giving them bursaries.
The director, Union Vision, encouraged the teachers to train the children under Christianity and pledges that more schools are yet to come.
Build churches so that they can help people to grow up spiritually and also to help children so that they can be educated.
An estimated 300 schools and 3,000 churches are to be constructed in Uganda to curb the problem of school dropouts.
We expect to build 300 schools in Uganda, but so far already 23 schools have already been built.
The local district authorities, however, call for total compliance to the country's education guidelines from such institutions. For the benefiting communities, a lot is still desired, especially in the primary section.
In case there is an opportunity, they add us an opportunity because we want all children catered for, because it has been an overwhelming number to accommodate all students in Naboa.
Union Vision targets to build over 300 schools and several churches across the country.
Now, in just a space of 3 weeks, at least 8 people are reported to have died and scores nursing severe injuries in Isingiro district due to dusty ditches, exposed culverts along various UNRWA roads. The executive director for UNRWA, Allen Kajina, in company of her engineers, visited these roads where they commiserated with the families of the deceased and instructing the regional UNRWA team to immediately work on these hotspots before government undertakes tarmacking the road.
The chairman, Smart Boda Riders and Transporters Cooperative Society in Kawempe, Maweje Frank, has unveiled the status of registered riders who are harmonizing the boda.
Atwawulidde eddoboozi lya Ssaabaminisita ow'ekitiibwa ennyo Musafiri Nabbanja nga batwongera omwezi omulala mulamba mpaka nga lumu ogw'omwenda okuwandiisa abavuzi ba boda. So olwaleero twagadde tulage.
Isingiro Nodeus, who with 30 years was riding his boda back home, rammed into heaps of maram that UNRWA contractor left in the middle of Kikagate Chitwe Road and died on spot. This incident angered local residents whom they protested against UNRWA, whom they accused of negligence.
UNRWA to come and see the families of the people who got injured on this road and compensate them. To come and see the family of the person who lost his life because of their negligence and compensate them.
Not many kilometers from here, a few days ago, a boda rider fell into this deep exposed culvert along Chitaza Bugango Road and died instantly. His passenger narrowly survived and is currently nursing severe injuries in the hospital.
Our road is for sure. Our road network is poor and very poor. Even you have registered a lot of accidents because of these impassable roads.
On the first spot where we had gone the Kashara, the boda cyclist came, was riding. Reaching on the way, he had to fall in the pit. Then he died. Another one is on the bed ridden.
Driving through Isingiro roads is a nightmare. Dust is unbearable. Area MPs that we spoke to blamed these accidents to dust, heaps of marram, exposed culverts and endless potholes along the main roads.
Of recent, we lost more than 8 people. But of recent, we had 4 people. A woman had 2 children being carried on a border. And because of the dust, they ended into a certain truck and they were all smashed.
And it has happened several times. And we are concerned, and may their soul rest in eternal peace.
These are very unfortunate events that we truly regret should not have happened, but also appeal to the local communities not to sit back when they find things undone. We are government entities, we're accountable.
The executive director, Wundra Allen Kajina, and engineers in company of the district leaders traversed these poor roads, including those hotspots where this accident happened. Kajina commiserated with the grieved families and instructed Wundra regional teams to ensure these spots are fixed immediately.
So our intervention on this trip has been to instruct the regional team to immediately rectify the situation where the culvert has been exposed and where the marram heaps were left on the road by the contractor, to get that contractor and he completes the work that he's supposed to do.
Due to poor roads, farmers in Isingiro are yet to realize returns on their investments. For example, matoke is bought cheaply at the farm gate, as low as 3,000 shillings, but sold expensively in Kampala due to huge costs of transportation. Allen Kajina says their visit to the district has since marked the beginning of the construction and the tarmacking of these roads, especially Bukanga and the 52 kilometers Kabingo-Rakai road.
The tarmacking of Isingiro, Ntantamchi, Ndizi, Rakai will start when we have completed the design. So we are starting the design phase now, because that's where you start. It's fully in the program for upgrading, and so we started that first phase of getting the design consultants.
Can't wait anymore because the pressure is too much. There is too much traffic. If heavier trailers, those carrying matoke, those for Mirik, the refugee trucks, so many things. But for the case of Isingiro Rakai Road, it is self-explanatory. Everyone knows what happens on that road. So we can't cry anymore. We cannot wait for the road.
Wundra officials later on headed to Rakai and Chotra districts to address the similar challenges facing the road infrastructure.
National Council for Higher Education will hold the 4th Annual Higher Education Conference on the 14th and 15th September 2022. The conference theme is Enhancement of Teaching, Learning and Assessment with Ordeal in Higher Education. The guest of honor will be the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Honorable Janet Kataha Museveni. The conference will be held physically at Hotel Africana for only invited guests and open to online participants via Zoom webinar that will be shared under the events section at www.unche.or.ug. The keynote speakers are Ezra Nazim, Senior Fellow of Higher Education Academy UK, Professor Henk Gerald Sol, a Dutch organizational theorist and Emeritus Professor of Business, Engineering and ICT at Groningen University, the Netherlands. The National Council for Higher Education is receiving papers from researchers and scholars for publication in the Uganda Higher Education Review, Journal of National Council for Higher Education. For more details, send inquiries to cmuhumuza@unche.org. info@unche.or.ug or call 0783 04 0024 or 0704 80 0926 plus 256 39 32 62 140/4.
At Timex Nutrition Center, we advise you on the right foods to eat, exercise profile to adopt, and lifestyle strategies which are compatible to your blood group and genotype. This empowers your body to prevent and treat many diseases like diabetes, blood pressure, arthritis, ulcers, obesity, and many others. For more information, find us at our head office in Kampala on Nassa Road, Conrad Plaza, 2nd floor, or call 0758 819 952 or 0778 288 361. We also have other branches in Mbara and Jinja.
Enjoy more GBs for the same price on Airtel. Shareable using 2 Gabonais. We have increased GBs across all your favorite packs. Now, 4 GB is at 10,000 shillings and 10.5 GB at 22,500 shillings, all valid for a week. For the heavy data users, enjoy 24 GB at 50,000 shillings and 50 GB at 100,000 shillings, all valid for a month. Dial *175# or use the My Airtel app to buy these and more affordable weekly and monthly data bundles on Airtel, the smartphone network.
The Electoral Commission has appointed 21st Thursday to 26th Tuesday, July 2022 as the period for candidates' campaign meetings for the by-election of directly elected Member of Parliament for Soroti East Constituency and City Division directly elected Councillor for Pioneer Ward in Soroti City. During this period, candidates shall not use or publish any language or defamatory words which incite disorder, hatred, violence, or which threaten war. The Commission urges all candidates, their agents, and the public to adhere to the harmonized program and set rules and regulations guiding the campaign period. All persons participating in the by-election shall be required to comply with guidelines issued by the Electoral Commission in accordance with the Government of Uganda and Ministry of Health measures against the spread of COVID-19, which include social distancing, washing of hands, and wearing face masks.
Welcome back. We now take you to the world of business. Now, Uganda Free Zones Authority has met with members of the Uganda Manufacturers Association for a sensitization dialogue on how they can leverage business opportunities within the national free zones. Now, this comes at a time when the sector, the manufacturing sector, that is celebrating the achievement of contributing over 19% to Uganda's exported goods as stipulated in NDP3.
The new financial year 2022-23 is seeing Uganda Free Zones Authority make strategic moves in assembling various private manufacturers to leverage free zones.
Initially, when the free zone scheme was created in 2014, we believed and we know that it was supposed to be established or promoted by the private sector. But as we transition in the 8 years of our operations, we know that the role of government in facilitating the growth of the free zones will be very important. So as an institution, we are now setting up government-owned free zones or facilities where we provide customized industrial infrastructure for those who are exporting.
Since the Free Zones Act came into place in 2014, a sizable number of local manufacturers that were in operation before, operating out of the standards of free zones, feel the need to be considered under a sliding scale arrangement.
Sure that you're going to invest a certain amount of money which will bring a certain outcome and then you're going to export. What's critical is the threshold, the 80-20 threshold. In fact, government outside the free zones as well, in the income tax laws, they are giving further incentives for people who are going 50 kilometers outside Kampala. So if you do that, you get double incentives.
As it is, any manufacturer that wants to tap into free zone prospects is required to amend their objectives under their registration with the URSB to legalize their operations as a free zone-worthy entity.
So if a company, for example, is exporting 10% now and it gets the benefit for the 10%, then it will weigh on its production so that if it finds that it's actually beneficial to increase the amount of exports, then it will go to 20. Then the next time it go to 30 until we get 80 and even 100%. So as opposed to now, where they're left out because we're looking at only those who are doing 80%, and that is why the majority of the factories that are actually benefiting from this scheme are those that are doing horticulture, coffee, fish, because those are able to export even 100%.
Despite recognizing the prospects of operating under free zones like exemptions on import duty and provision of operating space with enabling infrastructure, manufacturers believe that it would be more prudent to operate under a special economic zone arrangement. UBC Business.
Far past our time, that brings us to the end of our News Tonight edition. My name is Wadulo Mark Arnold, Ogado Mohammed on sign language. Have yourselves a lovely night.
Nivana wafe twenywele, nivana wafe twenywele, nivana wafe tunyola. Eish, 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 eish. Nivana wafe tunyola. For more goals, kumala kenyonta.
Nirvana packaged drinking water is a product of Crown Beverages Limited, makers of Pepsi products. That's life. That's Nirvana.